Today's Q&A is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a website, domain, or online store, make it with Squarespace.
Our first question comes from BB Nate, who asks if it's possible Snoke could have a contingency plan the same way that the Emperor did.
I guess it's possible. I don't really think so, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only thing that I could think of is, like, the Knights of Ren maybe popping up in Episode 9 and, like, that being kind of part of his plan. But he didn't really seem like the kind of guy who had a lot of planning under his belt.
Yeah, like, I see the Knights of Ren probably being loyal to Kylo, the leader of the Knights of Ren, and maybe the Praetorian Guard were, like, supposed to be Snoke's guard against the Knights of Ren, like, just in case they were gonna do anything. And then, I mean, they were awesome in the fight, but they totally failed in saving him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that I don't think he is much of a planner, at least not in the same way Palpatine was. If you had asked me this before The Last Jedi or something like that, like, going into The Last Jedi, I was like, well, I assume Snoke is going to be bigger and badder than Palpatine, and now I don't think so. The Last Jedi novelization even says that his rise to power was unexpected, and it kind of just seems like he took power because he could, and then he's like, well, now I guess I'm just going to conquer the galaxy because I can. And
yeah.
That's all there is to it.
If you look at the way he went out, like, I don't know, it just... If you had taken someone who had done a lot of planning and was, like, really smart and wise about every step that he made, I don't think he would have gone out like that.
Yeah, I don't think that Palpatine ever would have gone out like that. So, yeah, I see Palpatine. We've made jokes before about how he's got plans on plans on plans. Like, there was no getting by him.
Yeah, I mean, the entirety of the Clone Wars, you see slowly his planning process and how each arc kind of, like, takes a cut into his plan and how he gets around it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, Anakin messed that up again, but it's okay because I had this other plan, like, just in case.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that Snoke has any sort of contingency. I think he thought there was no way he was going to go out, and that's probably part of the reason he did.
Yeah. Levi Bond wants to know if the First Order will still be around after Episode 9.
I can't imagine that they would be.
Yeah, I don't see them being kind of like they were leftover Imperials. I don't see the First Order having like anything left of it after this whole story wraps up.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the possibility that there will be one or two out there, but I think that would be a mistake. Yeah. I think we need to be done with the Empire. And, I mean, come on, the First Order is basically just the Empire again. So if we were to do episodes 10, 11, 12, or just anything post episode 9, I don't want it to be stormtroopers. I would like to see something new. I don't know what, but...
Pirates? I mean, there's a lot of that stuff in Resistance.
Pirates, scum, and villainy. I mean, I don't think people would be all that crazy if they did use On Vong, but some sort of invasion story. I don't know. I just think that we need to move on from the white armor and the, like, uniforms that we're so familiar with now. Like, let's do something new.
let's get the Chiss into the story.
Oh, man. That would hurt me. Like, I don't know who I'd like root for them. I'd be like, yeah, take it over.
Well, maybe not as enemies though. Like the what was the name of the
Grisk?
Yeah, the Grisk.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of a use on Vong type deal.
So it's like some threat like that could come along, and maybe the Chiss come in and they're like have to set aside differences and kind of help out. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, now you've said it, and I'm kind of on board for, like, yeah, let the Chiss do something. Like, take over the galaxy. I don't care.
I mean, if we get what we kind of want, which is like a stormtrooper uprising, maybe, I see that being the end of the First Order. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think that's all there is to it. That our hope is that we will be done with the First Order, and we'll get to do something very different in the future.
Nick Canavan asks why the First Order is so interested in Colossus Station in Resistance.
I have a theory. It's probably not right, but I've been doing a lot of writing about the observatories lately for future videos. So I'm on this like observatory kick where we've visited the Jakku Observatory and the Pilio Observatory. And there was like one shot in the Resistance mid-season trailer where they're going to some structure in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. And I'm like, what if that's an observatory? And maybe the First Order knows something that no one else does, that Palpatine used to have, like a facility out there.
I was going to say, explain what you mean by observatory.
We know from the Aftermath trilogy that there are a handful of just Imperial installations.
Okay.
And they all have different functions. They're kind of like the Dharma Initiative in Lost. Like, you have all these hatches and stuff, and like, this one is for psychological research, and this one is for animal behavior. And so I don't know what they have on Colossus. It's probably not an observatory. It's just a thought I had that I thought would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably something more simple where it's just a refueling platform and the First Order could take it over and it's like, now this is ours and this is where we refuel.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was kind of thinking. They just want the station for themselves eventually, and they may also have their eye on the ace pilots that are there.
I think they'd probably rather just wipe them out because they're not all that keen on aliens. So,
that's true.
At least in Hype and Bo Keebl's case, they probably wouldn't be invited, but maybe the other ones, especially Griff, who I want Griff to just get some lines.
I know.
I'm so intrigued by that character and I want to know more about him, but yeah, Castellan is on the edge of wild space, like right there next to the unknown region, so it's probably like this is a good staging ground for the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be cool if there were just a little bit more and we got to see some old Imperial stuff.
Yeah. Or like a training station, something like that. Alex Schlosser wants to know if it would be cool to see a Harry Potter style story about a Padawan.
In a way, yes.
I think so.
Yeah, the way that you set it up, where it's like someone grows up with not a great childhood and then they're whisked off to train at some special school, like that's basically Anakin's story.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't turn out so well. So I don't think that they could do something like that where they don't enter the school until they're 11, because by then they form attachments and all that stuff. But I think you could be onto something with like a junior reader series where it's about a youngling who did grow up in the temple. Maybe the first book is about their gathering where they get their crystal and they become like a Padawan for the first time. And then we'd get a really close look at what it's like to go from Padawan to Jedi Knight, which, I mean, we kind of get that with Ahsoka, but I think you could be onto something with like, what is their training like in the temple?
Yeah.
What kind of classes do they take? I think that could be fun.
Yeah, some of my favorite stuff from the Clone Wars was when they went to Ilum to get their crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see a whole show or a series just about Padawans and their training and, like, that whole part of becoming a Jedi.
Did you know that those episodes with the younglings, that was kind of like a shadow pilot? They were testing how people were going to react to that. And if it did well, they were going to make a show about those characters.
Do it!
Now I'm like... it doesn't end happy.
Well, they could change it up.
I know.
Make it like
they all escape.
Not Old Republic, but like just make it about back further in the day.
Oh, sure. Not those characters.
Yeah.
It's like, because like none of them make it out. But yeah, I think that would be cool to follow a group of younglings going into Padawan, and then like the end of the series would be them becoming knights. And
we saw something kind of similar. I think it was like a young reader series before The Force Awakens came out, but it was the First Order side.
Oh, Servants of the Empire.
With Finn
it was Zer Leonis from Star Wars Rebels. So it was Imperial.
Yeah, so like something like that, but for Padawans.
And that was kind of Harry Potter-ish. I mean, it went into his time in what's Space High School, and then he went into the Imperial Academy, and it got into their classes and stuff. So yeah, I think that there's a market out there for that.
Give me Buffy, but instead of being the chosen one, a slayer, a vampire slayer, let the chosen one be someone like Rey or Anakin, even though I guess we're kind of over the whole chosen one aspect of
I don't mind
Star
it in Buffy. It's kind of a different thing. But
it would be a cool, like, kids thing.
Sure.
Know. Rick Villanueva asks how we plan to train for the Schmodown at Star Wars Celebration, and if it's Whitwer, will we do anything different?
Probably not. I can't really... I'm probably going to be a little more anxious about training, and I'll probably want to do it more. But I don't know what we could do differently that would help.
Yeah, you're on your own this time.
What?
I quit as trainer.
Well, then I'm screwed. There it is.
No, I'm kidding. Our go-to is just watch all the movies, take a bunch of notes, watch the movies with subtitles on, so we get quotes kind of like in our head a little bit more.
Because that's where I kind of falter, is when you need to get a quote exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can give you the spirit of it, but...
I think this time around, usually we kind of wait to the last minute to watch all the movies, and then we were kind of cramming. I think we should watch all the movies at least twice.
We say that every time we do a Schmodown, but you're probably right. But, the truth is, it's like, I'm just going to... I guess I'm focusing more on being entertaining. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that I know my stuff, and there's only so much you can do. I'm just saying. There's only so much you can do when you study. And Schmodown is also about being, like, a bit of a showman, and that's not something that I've always been great at, but I've been taking improv lessons. I want to be able to, give the live audience a good time. And if I want to win, of course, but if I don't, what's the worst case scenario? I just lost to Darth Maul. Like, either way, it's going to be a top memory for the year.
Sam is an actor, and so he knows how to turn it on and off. But for the most part, in Schmodowns, at least in the past, he's very reserved, kind of calm, very, like, focused.
He's good in his promos, but then when he's out there, he's very just, like, intense and, like, just talking into the microphone, and that's it. And that's how I tend to be, too. But
maybe he's got, like, a little hidden earpiece and somebody's feeding him answers.
I wish that were the case, because then we could somehow, like, set up a disturbance field and ruin the signal, but I know that that's not true, and he just has those movies memorized.
Yeah.
So... It's going to be a fun battle no matter what, and I'm looking forward to it, win or lose. Before we move on, we should say that it has not been confirmed that Sam can do this, so I don't want to, like, build up too much hype.
Right.
We know he's going to be at Celebration, so fingers crossed that he has the time to do it.
And that he wants to.
I hope he wants to. But yeah, it could be someone else. I think the plan B, if Whitwer can't do it, is that they're going to have another match earlier in Celebration, and it'll be like a fatal 5-way, and whoever wins that will then go up against me. Yeah? All right.
Maybe while I'm training you, I'll be training myself.
Maybe. That's it for patron questions, so now it's time to hear from our sponsor. If you don't know what Squarespace is, it's an all-in-one platform for building great-looking websites. They handle domain names and web design templates. It's all super easy to use, you don't need any previous experience at all, and if you get stuck, they have award-winning customer support available 24/7. Whether you want to launch your own business or Star Wars fan page, make it with Squarespace. Head there now by following the link in the description or by going to www.squarespace.com/Star Wars Explained to save 10% off your first purchase.
On to YouTube questions. David Orla asks if we think most fan theories are way too absurd and unlikely.
Some of them, yeah. I don't want to, like, trash fan theories at all, because I actually think that it is a lot of fun. What else are we supposed to do in the 2 years between The Last Jedi and 9? Like, let's speculate, let's have some fun, even if it's wild and crazy, like, break out the tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
But some of them, I think that there are people that fall into the trap of like they just have this idea that they like, and then they want to convince themselves that it'll happen, and they look for just the evidence that'll prove it. And there's plenty of evidence out there that will disprove a fan theory as well. So, like, I think people just need to, I don't know, find that balance.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's hard to tell people's tone on the internet. So when people come to us with a fan theory, they could be just like joking around, like, oh, this could be fun, or they could be super serious and like, if you don't believe this fan theory of mine, I will hunt you down and murder you. Like, it's hard to tell a lot of times online. So like, I don't know, some people take it way too seriously and some people don't. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think fan theories should just be about fun. And it's like, oh, here's something that like I could see happening. And is there any evidence for that? Sure. Is there any evidence against it? Sure. But like, weigh the pros and cons. And I think the bigger thing is just don't get too attached to them.
Yeah, I feel like that's the entire reason why people got so like upset about what happened with Snoke in episode 8 was because we had so much time to theorize about Snoke, who he is, what's going to happen, that people got really attached to that character. And, you know, if you think about it, he's only there to hold Kylo back. And when he's killed off, like, that's it. He's out of the picture. And we don't know if we're going to ever get his backstory. I hope we do get a little bit.
I'm sure we will.
More about him. But a lot of people were really upset that he just got killed off like that. And that was it.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I guess, this thing where you got the storytellers and then there's fans. And I mean, some fans thought Snoke was super important. I never thought Snoke was all that important. I wanted to know, you know, how he rose to power. I still do. But I wasn't like clamoring for it. And the thing is, like, the filmmakers are writing these. The Last Jedi script was done before The Force Awakens was released. So they didn't know, like, that everyone was going to latch onto Snoke so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that they would then be so disappointed to not learn anything. So it's just too late to change anything like that. So the things that we find to be so important, the filmmaker might not.
Yeah.
And you just have to accept that.
Which is weird because there are a lot of fan videos that promised that their inside source told them these things about Snoke after The Force Awakens came out, but they turned out wrong.
I don't know how that happened, but...
Girl Painting wants to know if the Emperor trying to collect Force-sensitive babies ever got resolved in a comic or book.
I don't want to say it was resolved, because I guess it wasn't. It's just been a continuing thing. They have named it. It's called Project Harvester. It was in Servants of the Empire, which we talked about earlier. It was in the Darth Vader comic. And all we know for now is that they're trying to collect these Force-sensitive kids, to then indoctrinate them into the Empire and be dark side users. Also, just to keep them away from the Jedi and ever possibly like learning the previous order, and that might come back. But I think that really, I don't know if it'll ever get resolved, but it's more like, let's leave a door open for if we need a dark side bad guy character, like here's a reason for that person to exist.
Yeah. Vikram Tapadia asks what our opinion is on the fun summer Marvel type blockbuster Star Wars movies like Solo as opposed to the other ones. Well, I mean, Solo wasn't really a blockbuster, but we can call it that.
Yeah, it was meant to be. I mean, it was more just like a fun popcorn movie.
Yes.
And I'll say, I mean, it's on the lower half of my own personal ranking. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like A New Hope good to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, few things are. That's set the bar way too high there. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I still hope that they do those standalones because I like the idea of having the bigger series, the more epic stories told the way the sequel trilogy has been, where we get that every other year, or maybe it'll be every 2 years. And then we can still fill that inside gap with something fun like Solo. Like, I still wish that it had come out in December.
Yeah, I was going to say they need to spend a little more time and effort, like really prepping this movie that's going to be very different than the anthology movies and, advertising that it's coming out. Because a lot of people were like, wait, there's a Star Wars out in May?
Yeah. But I was more just like, I would prefer that we split the time between The Last Jedi and Episode 9 evenly.
Yeah.
Because now it's like we have to wait like 18 months for a Star Wars instead of the 12.
Yeah.
I think that would have been more fun. But like, my point is, yeah, I'm happy to have a blockbuster, whatever, popcorn. Like, this is just meant to be fun, and that's it. Yeah, bring it on. I'm there for it.
Yeah, and even if it's not a theatrical type thing, if it's something that's coming out on Disney Plus, I'm all for that too, because if I don't have to leave the house, that's a plus for me.
Bob Iger did say that they're not developing any movies.
Not yet.
Not yet, but he said that he wants all of the Star Wars movies to be like big blockbuster event movies on the big screen. So I don't know. I don't think that they're developing films for Disney Plus yet.
But I mean, I guess I would count small series type TV shows in that same like fun category. Like The Mandalorian is going to be like a fun.
I assume. It looks
thing.
like fun.
Yeah, let's hope so. Bacasta wants to know if we think Kaz from Resistance could be in Episode 9.
I think that there is potential for that. This came up on Twitter, I think, last week, and I got all excited about it. And we also kind of touched on something similar in last week's Q&A. But yeah, I feel like it could work pretty well. I mean, we could just get Christopher Sean, the guy who voices Kaz, slap the helmet on him and put him in the fireball, and then give him a couple throwaway lines. To most of the audience, he would be just like a nameless pilot. Mm-hmm. But to a handful of people who watch Resistance, we'd lose our minds. It'd be great.
Yeah. And it would be cool if, like, Poe threw him a line that hinted that, like, yeah, they have some history.
That they know each other, yeah.
Yeah.
Something that, I mean, here we go. Let's talk about some fan theories. Something in my head. No, it's not a tinfoil. No, put it back. Put it back. Get it off the screen. It's not tinfoil. It's just like something I think could happen that could be cool. We know the Resistance is like almost non-existent at the end of The Last Jedi. So I like the idea that they have more of a cobbled together fleet. It's not so organized. It's not like we have this great squadron of X-Wings and here's our squadron of A-Wings. I like the idea that it's like, we have what we have and we're doing our best.
We have Alphabet Squadron.
So yeah, like the Fireball could be part of that just cobbled together fleet. Mm-hmm. And even if we don't get a line from Kaz, I still think it would be cool if, kind of like the Rogue One brought in the Ghost. Rogue One brought in the Ghost. It's like we could see the Fireball flying around, and I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, and definitely I think that's very plausible. Resistance Chris and a ton of other people on the internet asks, what happened to your Legends book series?
Yeah, it's been like 5 months, and I will admit I am dragging my feet on it. There are a couple reasons. First, it's just like it's already hard to keep up with all of the new stuff that's coming out.
I heard him the other day just like, I don't want to do this. It's the worst.
That's not true. Although the next 2 books on my list are the Han Solo Adventures and the Lando Calrissian Adventures, and I just read them last year for the build-up to Solo. And I honestly, like, I feel like I'm in the minority here, but I just don't like them that much. And so that's kind of holding me back. I'm not motivated to read them. I need to just think about how the Thrawn trilogy is immediately after that. Yeah. So I should just buckle down and power through it.
Yeah.
So
plus, I mean, you can make a bunch of connections with Solo.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of those.
While you talk about those books.
You're right.
So just do it.
I'm going to.
Just do it.
At this rate, if I keep up what I've been doing, it'll only take like 3 centuries to finish all of Legends, so I guess I need to pick up the pace. That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. And if you're a patron, we just released our audio commentary for Lair of Grievous this weekend, and that is one of my favorite Clone Wars episodes. So
It's a great one.
Yeah, I was really excited to release that one, but you can check that out right now if you are a patron. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel,
and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.